of the Soft Skills Masterclass. You're welcome. This is Soft Skills Masterclass for students. And my name is Abiola. I'm a soft skills instructor at Mindklass. As an introduction this evening, Mindklass carried out a research in the year 2019 on the causes of poor academic performance among secondary school students in the year 2019. And we found that 67% of students said the major reason why they underperform in their study is because of the lack of motivation to study. While close to that is the 60% number of students who said that the reason why they are not doing well in their study is because of the fact that they are having problem with retention. That's when they find it difficult to retain and recall when needed. And that is the reason why we are looking at the study this evening, the science of retention. Retention is one of the major reasons why students underperform in their study, as we have seen in the research carried out by Mindklass. And there is a science that aids retention. There is a scientific explanation to the reason why students underperform. The reason why we say science is not that we are saying that there is a biological science, but there is a social scientific explanation to the major reason why students underperform in their study. And that's why as we are taking a journey to look at this knowledge, we hope that students will understand the definition of science of retention, that they will understand how the memory works, and that they will know the methods that can help them to remember better. And lastly, they will be able to use the knowledge that they will be acquiring in this class to their own advantage. Now, a student might want to ask that what is science? Science is a set of knowledge that has been tested or found to be true. Science is different from technology. It is the application of knowledge that is called technology. But science is a body of knowledge that has been tested, that has been verified, and has proven that it can be of benefit to humanity. And that's why the knowledge of the cure, when a scientist or a doctor comes to the world and he says, possibly on the internet, that I have the cure to COVID-19. Now, that can be referred to as a scientific knowledge, if that has been tested, if that has been verified. Now, the knowledge of this can therefore be developed to become technology by developing a vaccine, by developing possibly injection or drugs that can be of benefit to the whole world by reducing the spread of COVID-19 around the world. What is retention? Retention is simply the ability to store knowledge in one's memory, in one's mind, for a particular time, and the ability to use it when needed. It is important for students to understand that knowledge, information, what we see through the senses, are stored in a kind of human memory. And the rates at which they are stored in the memory differs. There are some knowledge that when it is received from the senses, it does not last more than 5 seconds. There are some that last up to a minute, and there are some that are relatively permanent. So it is important for students to understand what retention is, why they are forgetting what they read. It is important for students to understand how to get their knowledge to move from different stages of retention as we'll be looking at this evening. What is the science of retention? It refers to the method of using certain skills and knowledge to improve storage. That is to say, the knowledge you receive, either you read, you see with your eyes, or you perceive with your head. Storage, improving storage, and recall. Recall means to retrieve the knowledge back from your memory. So take the knowledge back from your mind. So find a way to bring the knowledge back to your remembrance from your mind. So science of retention refers to the method of using certain skills and knowledge to improve storage, one, and the recall of information from the memory. So this is important. What are the stages of memory, as I said recently? So the information that we receive goes through different stages of the memory. Number one, it goes from the senses. Now, we have 5 senses. We have the eyes, we have the smell, we have the sense, we have the touch, and others. So it's the knowledge that we receive goes from the senses to the sensory memory. The knowledge that ends in the sensory memory and the knowledge like if you want to load your call card or recharge card, the moment you get the number, within few milliseconds, it is gone. So this is often used, we often use our sensory memory when we are loading recharge card, or possibly when you're trying to glance through or you want to get an information from your book, you are scanning through a book or you are looking for something in a room. So you are looking at it at a very fast range. Use your sensory memory. The second aspect of memory is the short-term memory. So short-term memory is often used when you are trying to, hold an address in your mind. If the moment you hold it, it doesn't last for 10 to 15 seconds. If you don't reverse it, if you don't recite that address, if you don't recite the knowledge. For example, if you are trying to store a formula in your mind as a student, if you use the sensory memory, within few seconds, 5 seconds, it is gone. If you use the short-term memory, within 10 to 15 seconds, if you don't find a way or a method to get it into your long-term memory, you forget it. So the long-term memory is the memory that is relatively permanent. There are some things that when you have them stored in your long-term memory for several years, for several months, for several days sometimes, you have it there. It doesn't really get missing. There are some who have told me that they could remember what they did or a number of things that they did when they were around 3 years old. So those things were stored in a long-term memory. You don't easily forget things like that. So the question then is that how do we improve our memory? It is very important to mention that the greatest key as a student to improve your memory, to improve your performance in the class, the greatest thing that you need to understand is self-awareness. Don't forget that the first word here is self. Now, we are not dealing with mommy, we are not dealing with daddy, we are not dealing with your friend, we are dealing with self. That's yourself. So awareness means you know, you understand, you have a keen awareness about who you are. Now, what is self-awareness? Self-awareness simply means having a good knowledge of your past performance. Don't forget that we are talking about this in relation to your academic performance, with your academic pursuits. So self-awareness means having a good knowledge of your past academic performance. How good are you? Would you rate yourself as a best student? Would you rate yourself as an average student? Would you rate yourself as a below average student? So do you have a good knowledge of your past performance. Number two is your present performance. How do you think you are performing now in comparison to how you were performing in the last time, in the previous time? Would you say that there is an improvement? Would you say that there is an upward improvement or downward performance? Then number three is having a good knowledge of the future plan. Where do you want to be in the next time? How many days do you want to have? What goals do you have that you want to accomplish? What subjects are you having issues or challenges with that you are looking forward to improving yourself in those subjects? So as a student, it is important that you understand that self-awareness has to do with understanding your future plans. The number three means that when you have self-awareness, you have the determination to get to that future plan which you have designed for yourself. Self-awareness is very important. Students who lack self-awareness don't perform in any area of life at all. So self-awareness it is deeper and broader than and more broad than what we are looking at this evening. What is how do you as a student improve your memory? Number one that we are looking at this evening is observation and visualization. Now, how does observation and visualization work? Don't forget that observation means you look, you observe with your eyes. Now, visualization means you imagine, you think, you rewrite what you have looked at or what you have read in a book in your mind. So observation means looking and possibly reading. If you look at the picture that is displayed, you discover that the doctor or the scientist is observing, looking at a scientific object through the device that he is using. So when he looks at it, the next step is visualization. Now, visualization has to do with sketching, writing, or rewriting what you have read in your mind. Now, when you do this, it aids your remembrance. And the reason why this is important is because what you see with your eyes, you are most likely to forget when it does not get to your mind. Maybe I should repeat that. What you see only with your eyes, without getting it to your mind, you are most likely to forget in the nearest few seconds. And the reason is because the mind is the most powerful ways of storing information. We see more with our mind than we see with our eyes. If you as a student only see with your eyes, students with that kind of behavior are not really going to do well. So how does observation and visualization work? If you look at the formula before us, which is called the almighty formula. Now, if you want to apply the observation and visualization method to improve your memory, to understand, to remember this formula better, the first thing that you might want to do is to look at the formula for like 2 minutes. Now, close your eyes and rewrite the formula in your mind. The moment you find that you have run out of ideas, open your eyes again to get more points, to get more details from the formula. Then close your eyes. Imagine yourself holding a pen, rewriting the formula in your mind. It gets registered more. So the last step is you keep repeating this until a formula is registered in your mind. If you try this, you discover that you find it very hard to remember. You find it very hard to forget what you have stored using this method. So the second step to how to improve your memory is the use of acronyms. So acronyms is a word formed from the first few letters of several words. How does this work? Now, if you look at these formula of volts, in science, it is often said that a volt equals resistance multiplied by amps. Now, you can rearrange this to aid your remembrance. Now, volts, the first word here is volts. And volt has the first letter as V. So we have V here. In amps, we have A. We have A here. Then the resistance, we have R. So you can just simply say, by remembering the formula of getting volt as var. So when you are asked, what is the formula for volt? You can simply reply, volt is amps, the V is our volt, is amps times resistance. As simple as that. The second way of applying this is when you look at the characteristics of living things. You'll find here that in these characteristics, you find excretion, nutrition, movement, respiratory, sensitivity, growth, and reproduction. The moment you can rearrange all these by bringing your M as a first word, then your R as a next word, your S as a next word, your G, which is for growth, next word, R for reproduction, next word, then excretion, your E, nutrition, you have it as your N. So by simply saying Miss Green, by registering Miss Green in your mind, you can easily recite, you can easily recall, you can easily remember the characteristics of living things as Miss Green, which is movement, respiration or respiratory, S for sensitivity, G for growth, R for reproduction, E for excretion, and N for nutrition. The last example is the acronym for North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is NATO. So you can apply this in a number of your subjects to improve your memory, to improve your performance in your studies. The third method of how to improve your memory that I'll be looking at as we continue tomorrow evening is turning numbers into sentences. How does this work? This simply involves the use of words and sentences to memorize numbers. Now, there are sometimes that you have numbers that are much, and you find it hard to have them stored or memorize in your mind. How do you go about that? You can replace those number with the exact number of words, and you form a sentence from there to aid your remembrance or your memory. How does that work? So let's look at this exercise. So we understand that pi, the number pi is represented in 3.1415926. Now, how do you help your memory to remember? What method can you use? You can use the replace number with sentence. So if you look at the sentence that was formed here, it says, how I wish I could enumerate pi easily. So the how has 3 letters. It is represented by 3. So since we have 3 here, we look for a 3-letter word to replace the first number. We have 1 replaced by I. We have wish, which consists of 4 alphabets. Then that is represented by the figure 4 here. We do that till the last figure, which is 6. So we have easily, which are 6 alphabets to replace a figure 6. This is one of the simple ways to improve your memory in a bit to improve your academic performance. So as we conclude this evening, don't forget that we have some other method of improving memory that I'll be looking at tomorrow evening. And as we conclude this evening, there are other methods that will be using or we're learning to improve memory, which are very important and insightful at tomorrow evening's class. So what method have you been using in the past to aid your remembrance? So this is a discussion section. I don't know if Mr. or Mrs. Lucky would like to contribute to today's class in the next 5 minutes, please. So what method have you been using in the past to aid your remembrance? Can you please unmute yourself?
Okay. Thank you very much for this insightful session. I have learned so much. This is an eye-opener. Although some of the methods you have mentioned in retention, I know some of them. For example, the mnemonics. Then what's it called? There's this acronym. There's this
acronym.
Acronyms.
Yes.
What's it called? Say revise, revision, and there's this word that this stuff that is being used. You say you read, you revise, you revision. That's another method of retention I also use. Then another one again is I think I've forgotten, but the new method I've just learned from what you've just spoken or what you've just shared with us is the turning number into sentence. It's actually a fantastic one because most times numbers, we may not be able to retain a long number, but
indeed,
with this method of turning it into sentence, we can easily memorize or quickly just say the numbers with the use of sentences. So I think that was a very powerful tool I have learned today, apart from the ones I knew. So
thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your contribution, and it is very important and nice to hear from you this evening, Mr. Lucky, and I am very happy. So we have come to the end of today's class. I don't know if Mr. Lucky has any question generally or from today's class. Any questions, sir?
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I have a question because I'm just wondering why it's difficult for people to attend such a wonderful and great lecture of this kind. I was just imagining, but I just thought of some of the challenges that people may face in attending this class. For example, availability of data, availability of what's it called, the device, either computer or phone. But the most important one is the availability of data, because if you have this phone with you and you have a message of this kind that is being sent, I don't think it will be too much for one to just go and just click and see what is actually going on, because I've learned so much from today's class. In fact, now I can be able to apply this method, some of the things you've just shared now, in my study, because I'm a student also. So because nobody stopped to be a student in as much you are still alive.
Yes, indeed.
So we want to keep on learning and learning. The day you stop learning, that day you start dying.
Indeed.
So yes, so I'm a student. This is beneficial to me. So I don't know if you can also widen the scope. Don't limit this to students who are in secondary school, primary school. I want you to extend the scope, because immediately you just said students. You know, it's not all the students that have data.
Indeed.
To listen to this kind of class.
Yes.
But if you widen the scope. If I, as an individual, a parent, has listened to this, the next class, I will tell my student to come and listen to this class. But if I've not listened to it before, I may not have an idea of what we are going to share in that class. And I may not also understand the importance and the benefits of it. But since I have seen this class, it is easier for me to go there and tell them there's something great that is happening in Mindklass. Come and see what is going on here. Come and see. So I think you may want to widen the scope. Don't limit it to just a student in a secondary school or primary school. Extend it to every other people who are interested in learning, who are interested in developing themselves. People who are teachers, people who are trainers, they want this particular class is essential because they will also go out there to also train other people, teach other people, and make other people's life better. So I think you may want to extend or increase the scope of your audience because your audience are limited to students, and those students are challenged in getting to our access to this class because of what I've mentioned previously. Data, the device, and some of their lack of interest. But when you extend it, anybody that come across this study, I'm very sure they will go back and share the good news that something great is happening in Mindklass. So I just want to really appreciate you guys. You didn't spend so much time, but a lot has been shared. A lot
Thank you.
has been shared. So please extend the scope. And also I'm going to go out there and tell them there's something good is happening. So I just want to ask, how does this work? Is it something that happens from time to time? Or I just want you to just explain, just let me know, how does it work? Is it a class that is a free class that happens from time to time, or is there a strategy, or is there something you are looking at? So I just want to, because this is my first time to attend this class.
Okay, sir. Presently, we've not commercialized this class. We started with a pro bono to introduce the idea, what we have planned for students and those that might be interested. So we are running a 2-month free program. So after the 2 months, we are in the second month. We started from January. So this is second month, and we hope that after this month, students or participants will be paying a certain amount for the weekend online program. So it comes up every Friday evenings and Saturday evenings by 6 p.m. to around 6:40 maximum.
Okay.